This is Jilliana at Ranicar-Breese, and this is part 2 of my interview with Roland Beaufre.
Bravo.
Oh, bravo, I got it right. It's not easy. Yeah. Okay, so tell me, who influenced you? Because I know you were into black and white photography, so who influenced you out of the great photographers, the great French photographers?
Oh, that was not only French photographers, it was photographers all around the world. And I must say, I loved, in black and white, I was very impressed at the beginning by Cecil Beaton.
Oh,
That
yes.
was the first I knew when I started my study.
Did you meet him?
I didn't meet him, and I was really furious because one of the friends of my parents was David Herbert, and David Herbert was the boyfriend of Cecil Beaton during a while, and Cecil Beaton came very often to Tangier to see David Herbert, and never David Herbert told me I know Cecil Beaton. If I have known that, I should have jumped on him when he was there, because really, I really loved the photographs of Cecil Beaton and Horst.
Oh, yes, Horst, yes.
Because they are about the same, especially at that time in the 70s.
Yes.
I loved, there was one French photographer I loved a lot, it's Guy Bourdin. Guy Bourdin was working for the French Vogue, and he did very special photos. It was, it was as famous as Helmut Newton at that time. It's a very strange with only
with women.
Women.
Yes,
but,
very sexual.
Very sexual, but in a not vulgar at all.
Okay.
It's very aesthetic and very strange. Well, I loved Irving Penn too. That was one of the photographer I really loved. I loved a lot. I discovered at that time Joan Michaels. And I think it's an American photographer. He is doing sketches in black and white, and he's writing on the prints. It's really very beautiful work. And I discovered Bruce Weber, which who I love really a lot, because for me it's the opposite of Cecil Beaton. Cecil Beaton is very sophisticated, and you can see it's very elaborate and very sophisticated. When you look at the photographs of Bruce Weber, it looks like it was a snapshot. Of course, it's not a snapshot, and the light is beautiful, and the quality of the black and white is perfect, and the pose of the model and so on. But it's very elaborate and very natural, and it's one of the most difficult things to do in photographs.
Have you ever done street photography? Or?
Well, sometimes, because when I worked for Marie Claire, they asked me to do some travels and to photograph different countries. And so I had to do, of course, photographs in the street. That was in Mexico, Thailand, or Italy, and so on. But this is not what I prefer. I prefer to elaborate photos.
Yeah. I mean, what about people like Diane Arbus, for example?
I love Diane Arbus.
Yeah.
I really love, but I'm absolutely not able to do the same thing than her.
Right.
Even far from her.
Yes.
Because it's a very special work.
Yes.
And it's very obsessional too, because she always did the same thing in a way. She wanted that special thing, and she had it. Of course, I discovered Mapplethorpe too, which is a kind of neoclassical photos, very special too, but very interesting.
So have you studied the history of photography?
Absolutely not.
No?
Because
No?
when I was at the Beaux-Arts, where I studied the painters, the sculptures, all the history of arts, but there was not at that time the history of photography.
Yeah, but later you didn't, and for your interest.
After I went always to the bookshops, and I was looking for new books on photographers, and like this, I discovered a lot of photographers like Onegin Nwene or or different one, you know, old one, Kertész or Nadar.
Oh, Nadar, yes.
And so on. So I saw a lot, but you know, by myself,
Yeah.
by looking after books.
Yeah,
in fact.
yeah. So, what are you working on now? I mean, we're going to look in part 3 at some of your photographs, but what's your main passion?
Well,
Obviously, visual passion. I mean,
well, anyway, for me, I love to do photographs, whatever it is.
but you're not doing black and white anymore. It's color,
No,
isn't it?
I'm doing black and whites too. Sometimes, not always, you know, because when you are working for magazines, they always want colors,
Right,
and not black and whites.
right.
But I do black and whites, especially when I do portraits.
Oh, you do studio portraits?
Yes, I like it very much.
Do you have your own studio?
No, absolutely not, because I don't do it so often, and I'm living outside of Paris, so it's not easy to ask somebody to come. But usually I'm doing the portraits in the decor of the people I photograph. I go to the apartment or to some place, which is like a double expression, you know. You have the face of the people and you have the surrounding of the people, and you have really a good feeling of the sensibility of the person I photograph.
Their choice of decor. So,
Yes.
do you spend more time in Paris than here? Than in Tangier?
Well, in fact, you know, I share my time in 3 because I am here in Tangier. I am outside of Paris in my country house near Normandy, and I'm traveling for my job, and I'm going to Paris. So this is the 3 different parts.
Where do you stay in Paris? You have a place in Paris as well?
No, I'm always going to the same friends that I knew for a very long time, and they are living in the center of Paris, near the Châtelet. It's a very convenient place, and it's always very pleasant to be with your friends.
Of course. Especially if they're interested in photography, of course.
Of course. And
So where do you feel most at home?
Sorry?
Where do you feel most at home?
At home? Well, you know, when I'm home, well, it depends what you call my home, you know. Because as I'm living in Tangier, in my home, in my apartment, and also in the country house in Normandy, it's very different, because living in an apartment in a big city like Tangier have nothing to do with living in the countryside like this. And so in the country, in France, I have all my photographs. Everything is there. So
Are you with the photo library as well?
So yes, I have everything there. I have all my archives.
No. Are you with a photo library?
No, absolutely not.
No?
I did for a very long time, and it was RAFO, the RAFO agency, and they quit 15 years ago, something like that. You know, the digital was very complicated for all the
with all the
agencies.
reproduction rights and...
So
I know
goes
all
down.
about that.
It was horrible, and so everything was stopped. So I didn't work anymore with an agency, and now I'm working, in fact, a lot with Instagram.
Instagram?
Yes, Instagram. Because
You mean you get commissions off Instagram?
by Instagram.
Yes.
You know, people meet me, and they ask me to buy prints or to do a job for them.
Really?
Including decorators and magazines.
Okay.
There was one American magazine called The Unseasonal, and they asked me by Instagram to do something for them and to publish photographs of me in the magazine.
Okay.
So this is like a kind of new way, you know, to work. And in fact, it's about the same than working with an agency.
Yes, right. Well, we'll in part 3 we're going to look at some of your photographs. Thank you.